In this video, we're going to learn how to create our own custom holder and integrate it into TopTool and then use it inside of TopSolidCAM. To start with, we're going to start a new design document and we're going to draw our new holder. And I'm going to do this with the new sketcher just for fun. So I'm going to create my holder here. Maybe we come back to some angle and over to there. Alright, I'm going to add some dimensions. I'm going to start with a half part dimension so I can get all my diameters. Get that point as well. Add some regular dimensions because that height's important. This height's important. That's important. And maybe our overall height there. We'll say this is a 20-degree taper there. And we'll say that that's 60 degrees, why not? Okay, then let's modify these to get them where we want them. We want that to be 1 inch. Maybe we want this to be 1.5 inches. Maybe we want this to be 2 inches. Half inch works there. Maybe we want that to be 2 inches. Plus, we'll say 5/16. Make that 2.5 just for good measure. Make that 5 maybe. And let's make this 3. Okay? Now, next thing I'm going to do, end my sketch, and I'm going to revolve this. And again, you can be as detailed on this as you want. I'm going to say that's good enough for my holder. Now, one of the things I recommend doing, though, is taking this view here, bringing back the driving elements, and printing out all the variables. Just send it to your printer. When you do this, for example, I'll do a print preview. Make sure you have print rendering to yes. And then you can say paper, for example, and click. There's your print rendering. So you can print this out and have these values for reference sake. If you say no to the print rendering, then this is what it's going to look like. You'll just see the wireframe. Okay? So anyways, now that you have those values, save this file somewhere. I'm going to save it in my projects, CAM, holders, milling, and I'm going to call this test 2 for now. Okay? Now, you're going to launch into TopTool, and now you're going to go to Description, Catalog, Workshop Components, Database for Missler, or your own database if you have it. From here, I'm going to go to Catalog, Links, and I'm going to go to the milling collet chucks. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to find one with the correct holder type. For example, in this case, we're doing HSK 63s. So I'm going to select that, and look at that, we have an HSK 63. So what I'm going to do from here is hit Add, and I'm going to call this holder whatever I want. I'm going to call it Bill New HSK Extension, or whatever. Now, before I even modify any of this stuff, I'm going to hit Add. So now it's in there, and I'm going to go choose Modify. And again, before we add any of this, I'm going to go to General and click in Drawing File. Now here, when you click in Drawing File, tap F1 on your keyboard, and you get the custom drawing file if you were going to have one. Here, I'm going to hit Control C to copy the entire name. Okay? I'm going to cancel out of that. I'm going to go back to TopSolid here and do a Save As for my holder. And I'm going to put this in the Missler config database draw directory and save it with that copied name. You notice it's got the name of my holder here. And just say OK. With that, I can close that file down. I'm done with it. We'll go back to TopTool. I'm going to cancel all that one more time. Now I'm going to go back in here and modify this and set some key values. For example, the hold link, this is referring to the tool diameter links. Okay? So for example, this holder can hold, I'm going to say, from a 1,000th diameter cutter to a, we'll say, 1 inch 375 diameter. Link collet type VR16 is fine if you're going to include those. link diameter. This here is going to be the maximum link diameter, basically, so I'm going to say is 1.375. Z-length to program. Now here is the distance from the tip, and let me go back and open this file. Do it this way. This value here, Z-length to program, is a combination of this value and this value. So in this case, it'll be 2 inches, 812 and a half. So I'm going to go in here and say 2.8125, followed by the IN. The nut diameter, you can put this in for reference sake if you want. I'm going to say is 2. And the nut length, in my case, was 5/8. Actually, it's a ½ inch on that one. And the rest of these really don't matter. So I'm going to hit modify. Those values are important because that tells the software when you insert it into a machine how far to stick it out of the spindle. And that's the Z-length to program value. Now, I'm just going to say OK out of there, quit, and go link a new tool. So I'm going to go to mill tool, and for example, I'll go to slot mill. I'm going to do a search for ½ inch cutters. And I'm going to do this on a standard length ½ inch cutter. And I'm going to do it for the DMU70 Evo. So there's one in there currently. I'm going to add a new one. Here I'm going to delete that name. I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to hit remove once because we still want to use the same ½ inch 4-flute standard length cutter. I'm going to add a component. And look, there's Bill's new HSK extension. And say OK. I'm going to hit add. Oops, got to give it a name. I'm going to call this my HSK. And this is the name that you'll see in your tool descriptions on your setup sheets and what have you. So this is where you want to give it a good name. So for example, I'll just say this is a 0.500 carbide standard end mill. Oops. And add. Now we've added that. I'm going to close it. And now I'm going to go close this file because I don't need it open anymore. And I'll start a new CAM file. And here I'll use the DMU70 Evo, which is an HSK type of machine. Zoom up on here. I'm going to go try my tool. I'll go new, slot mill. Again, I'll search for ½ inch, standard length. And maybe we'll even go filtered again with that. And now if we look, here's my ½ inch carbide standard end mill. Say OK. Look, there's my new holder. And life is good.